Hey folks, welcome back to the next episode of Shadows of Brimstone. We've ended our adventure and will now travel to town. One thing to note before I start though is that when we end an adventure, according to rulebook, we have to reset every hero to full health and sanity and 1 grit. So I read that as if you have 2 grit, which is the case of Chase, you actually lose one of them because you reset to 1 grit. Therefore, Chase is going to lose one of these. B is fine. She's not going to lose anything, but Chase will lose 1 grit. We need to head back to town now, but as we're traveling on the road, bad things or good things might happen. So as we prepare for travel, what we need to do is roll a d6, and on a roll of 1 or 2, we have to check for travel hazards. Let's roll for our 2 heroes. They'll each roll a d6, and they both rolled higher than 1 or 2. So lucky for us, we don't have any travel hazards. If there were indeed travel hazards, you would have to go to this chart, travel hazard chart. You roll 3 d6 and then see what happens. But we don't have to do that right now. Everyone, welcome to Frontier Town. The first thing you want to do when you arrive in town is place the darkness marker onto the 1 spot. This track helps us remember how many days it has been since we've last arrived in town. There are 6 locations that heroes can visit while in town. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each location has items that you can purchase as well as a unique event chart and specialty services. At the start of each day in town, each hero must decide if they want to stay at the hotel for the cost of $10 or if they want to stay at the campsite for free. The campsite does not cost any gold to stay at, but there could be hazards there. If you want to stay at the campsite, you have to roll 2 d6 on the campsite hazard chart to see if anything happens. At this point, I don't think I want to risk anything, and so I will pay $10 for Chase and B to stay at the hotel. Here I've subtracted $10 from their balance, and now we can decide what we want to do in town. I'm going to have B go to the Saloon, and Chase is going to go to the Frontier Post. This is my usual first stop. Here's the chart for the Frontier Outpost, and with any location, the first thing you need to do is roll for events, referencing these charts. So we have to roll a 2d6 and see what happens when we arrive at this location. The higher the better. 5 and 4 is 9. Dark stone shortage. The Outpost Bank is willing to pay top dollar for dark stones. You may sell your dark stone shards for d6 times 50 each today. Ah, very nice. 5. Nice. Dark stones are going to be 5 times 50, so 225 each today. Chase has 6 dark stones, so I'm actually going to sell them all for 250 a piece. And that would give me 1,500 gold. And all of a sudden, we jump up to 2,240 gold. Having that windfall, let's decide what we want to do at the Frontier Outpost. The first thing I want to do is do the bounty. This is a free action. Limit once per town stay for all heroes. Roll a d6 to see what the current bounty is at the outpost. And there's different monsters like the tentacles, hellbats, stranglers. And that's why it's important to keep track of how many of these you killed during the adventure, because you can sell the bodies of these monsters for money. The bounty is 3. That's hellbats, which means we actually don't get any money because this core set does not have hellbats. So 3 or 6 wouldn't get us anything. That's unfortunate, but we just had a windfall, so I won't complain. The next thing I want to do here is hold up the Outpost bank. It's outlaw only, and Chase is an outlaw. Limit once per town state, and this allows him to make an agility 5+ test to rob the Outpost bank. If successful, we will gain d6 times $50 for each 5+ rolled, and for each one roll we take some wounds, d6 hits during the shootout, and if failed, we're arrested and sent to hang in the morning, and we have to do a cunning check. So let's do an agility 5+ test. Chase's agility is 2, but we have +1 from his boots. We need 5+. Unfortunately, we failed. I am actually going to spend a grit to reroll that. This is the only grit he has, by the way. And let's try to rob the bank once more. We need 5+, and we failed. Wow, that's a very similar roll. Interesting. Alright, in this case, Chase is arrested and set to hang in the morning. At this point, he'll try to make an escape by making a cunning 3+ test to escape the jail. And there you go, we have a 5. So he successfully escapes, and he gains 20 experience points, but he needs to flee the town, ending his town stay. So he cannot stay any more days in town at all. And actually, if he failed that roll, he would have been hung at dawn, and he would be killed once and for all. So unfortunately, we were unable to rob the bank, and now we've fled town. Saloon Girl B, let's roll for Saloon events. 6 and 2. 8, a tall tale. Listening to a tale of deadly adventure from one of the other patrons, you're inspired to tell a story of your own. Make a lore 5+ test and gain 10 XP for every 5+ rolled. Her lore is 3. We did not roll any 5s, so unfortunately she did not gain any XP from telling the story. But that was a pretty good outcome because there weren't any bad stuff here. Let's take a look at what's in this establishment. And what I'm going to do with her is I will go here, which is entertain. She's a talented entertainer, and she is going to try to entertain patrons to earn some money. And this is only limited to Saloon Girl, by the way. So she can choose either performance or storytelling, so agility or lore. She can roll a number of dice equal to that skill, and for every 4 or 5, she's going to gain $25. For every 6, $100. Well, this is a no-brainer. Her agility is 4. We want high numbers. 5, 3, 1. So, with that 5, we'll gain $25. This looks interesting. This is a Darkstone Shiv. Don't know how to pronounce that. I think it's Shiv. It costs 1 Darkstone. And this is a free attack. We can discard this item to do d6 wounds to an adjacent enemy, ignoring defense. That's neat. Let's go ahead and buy one of these with a Darkstone. Let's also do Brimstone Craps. Gambling. Limit once per visit. Pay $100. Make a luck 5+ test. And if successful, gain 100 for every 5 rolled. If failed, you basically leave and lose that $100. Well, let's hope our luck is better now. It's 3 dice. And we've got 1, 5. So that's just $100, which cancels out our initial cost. So net gain of 0. But let's go ahead and do this one as well. Gambling. Casual poker, $50 entry. And we do a cunning 5+ test. Our cunning is 3. But she gets 1 + 1 from her worn eye patch, so 4. 1, 2. So we've got 2 higher than 5. And we get $50 for every 5+. So we'll get 100 gold. $9.65. That's all B wants to do in here. So she will end her day. And at the end of the day, we have to roll a d6. If the roll is higher than the current position of the darkness marker, then the day ends with an incident and the heroes may carry on to the next day, and then we move the darkness marker up the track by 1 spot. But if less than or equal to, you have to roll for bad stuff. So at this point we're in day 1, so any number we roll from the d6 is going to be higher or equal to 1. So we would be fine, and I would just forego that roll. But we would have to move the darkness marker up 1 to indicate now we're entering day 2. And as we spend more days in town, it gets harder and harder to roll successfully for the end of day town roll. And so you won't want to spend too many days in town for fear of triggering bad stuff to happen. We're in day 2. I think B will continue to stay in the hotel tonight as well, so she will spend 10 gold to do that. Today, B decides to go to the doctor's office. When we enter the doc's office, we'll have to see what happens. Let's roll to 2d6. Nice. 6 and 4 is 10. Expert surgeon. The doc is an expert surgeon and is really on top of things today. And he's only had 1 or 2 drinks. All attempts at surgery made today are +1 to the roll on the chart. That is awesome because I want to do some surgery today. Here's what I want to do. Surgery is d6 times $50, and it helps you potentially heal your injury or mutation, because B has a nasty fused fingers mutation which prevents her from using guns. I want to try to see if we can get rid of that mutation. So let's first of all roll to see how much the expert surgeon will charge us today. It's going to be 3 times 50, 150 gold for this surgery attempt. B is going to the surgery room. Let's wish her luck. A 6. Wow, nice. A 6 plus, because we actually have a 7 with the +1, is impressive scar. The injury mutation is healed. Gain +2 health for the new scar. This is awesome because not only is it healed, we actually add 2 to our max health. So B is going to be at 17 instead of 15. And we're going to get rid of her fused fingers. Let's see what else is in the doctor's office. We can purchase items like bandages, healing herbs, tonic, and some special stuff here. And we also have injections. Anti-venom injections, void vapor injections. They're all pretty expensive. This one, $4,800. I can't afford that. So we'll have to grab some healing items. I am going to purchase 3 herbs at $125 a piece, so it is going to be $375. We're down to 430 gold. Actually, I just realized that our side bag already has 3 tokens, so it has a limit of 5, which means we can only purchase 2 more. So instead of grabbing 3, I would just grab 2 herbs. I think that may be all that I want to do at the doctor's office, so let's call it a day and roll for the town event. It's the end of the day and something may happen in town. If we roll a 1, something would trigger, but since we rolled a 4, nothing happens, and we proceed to the 3rd day in town. Today, B will continue to stay in the hotel. She's traveling to the frontier outpost. Three and 5. 3 and 2 is 5, so Darkstone Glut. The market for Darkstone has fallen in recent days due to the roads being cut off by the Black Fang Raiders. Darkstone sold to the Outpost Bank is only worth D6 times 10 per shard today. Well, I don't plan to sell any, I don't think, today. so I don't think that affects us. But let's go inside and see what we want to buy from the Frontier Outpost. Let's see, I think I might want to grab is there anything that I can get? I originally wanted to grab the pickaxe, but I just realized I only have $544, so I don't have enough funds for that. What else could I do? Not very much I can afford on here, but I will grab this hunting knife, $400. Not too expensive. +1 combat. So now our combat is going to be 4. That would be quite strong in terms of melee attacks. With that, we're left with 145. Not much we could do. So she's going to call it a day and leave the Frontier Outpost. Let's roll the d6 and see whether any town events trigger. We rolled a 2, which means 2 is lower than 3. We would trigger the town event. Here's yet another chart that we have to roll against. 2d6 and see what happens there. And that looks like a 6 and a 3, so 9. Intense dread. A dark cloud on the horizon makes your soul sick as you see a void twister in the distance wipe through a neighboring town. Each hero must make a cunning 6+ test. If successful, gain 10 XP. If failed, take d6 + 3 sanity damage, ignoring willpower. If no hero passes this test, also add a growing dread card to the stack at the start of the next adventure. Ooh, okay. Cunning 6+. Our cunning is 3 + 1, so 4. We've got 1. So 1 is enough to succeed. We're going to gain 10 XP because we are strong enough and we're not afraid of this void twister. B is actually not going to stay any more days, having done all the things that she wanted to do in town. So she will now leave town, having resolved the town effect. She can now leave town and join Chase on the next adventure. They prepared themselves somewhat for next adventure. Chase, his town visit was cut off abruptly, so he wasn't able to spend the money. And unfortunately, we didn't get around grabbing our Darkstone bullets because B ran out of money. So they're not as prepared for the next adventure, but it is what it is. I hope this gave you a good understanding of how town works. I find that this is a very interesting and value-adding portion to the game. Going to town, going to the various events, it definitely makes the game much more thematic and ties all the adventures together. Thanks so much for joining me in the series of Shadows of Brimstone. This concludes this adventure and this playthrough, and thank you all for watching to the end.